off for our first map of the day. We've got nosfa, we've got RAISY kicking it off with Awoken 40. Take us away.
Let's get it started right here. We get to see that clutch, and we get to see that Dire Orb, who is going to prevail. So we're live on nosfa right now, making his way towards the LG. Has a little bit of shotgun, but definitely needs more weaponry before we get going.
Now RAISY eyeing that LG. It's the last weapon he still needs of the Unholy Trinity, whereas nosfa, no rockets to his name just yet, so he can't go for that passive ability, that reduced rocket jump damage that you were talking about, 40. Very little time between the items to start things off with. And this is a very calm, calculated opening to the game. No one really going all in. RAISY applied most of the pressure at the start, but he knew that he couldn't just all in yet without that LG to his name. And now both players are just looking for an opening.
You do a little bit of tribal just to give nosfa the information. But all in all, RAISY's okay with that because there's a light armor right there. So he's starting to Pac-Man things off the map as well, and nosfa has to be careful. As you mentioned before, items are synced up, and it's just a matter of who wants to get what as a missed opportunity there for nosfa with that free rail.
It's a costly rail to miss. Would have done a lot to RAISY's armor stack. And nevertheless, he still had the Mega, so it still wouldn't have been that much of an opportunity for nosfa to establish dominance, but he can't continue missing these shots. That was once again another good opportunity to get the upper hand over the robots.
Big LG here forcing out the shield from RAISY. RAISY somehow, though, steps back and plants his big ol' robotic feet and hits that rail, but right off the spawn, big damage coming out. Dire Orb was available, but nosfa didn't want to use it. Still pressing with the machine gun. There's the Dire Orb to get the verticality he needs and finish off that frag to tie it at 1.
Good use of the orb right there. Indeed. I also figured that he would use it right away. Instead, waits until he can get onto that LG. Take the fight that way. And now we do have a bit of a delay between the items. I'm not sure how intentional that drop was by RAISY, because he really has nothing to work with. And yeah, nosfa is going to punish that to hell and back. Really don't think RAISY meant to drop down there, 40.
Yeah,
and it cost
critical
him.
Mistake. Critical mistake there as nosfa able to grab the Mega. Up 1 frag, looking really good, chaining together those rails. But the shield is back up now, and he has to be careful as his rocket around the corner almost connects. Would have been big damage here, but nosfa knows. He's aware of all the attack vectors here for RAISY, and another beautiful rail as nosfa starting to heat up with it. A little bit of LG around the corner. RAISY really wants to push the corner, needs to be careful, and what a shot from both players there.
Out comes the shield though, and that gives RAISY the confidence he needs to push in and to tie it right back up, but he's vulnerable now. Unfortunately for nosfa, Mega spawned just a second too soon. If that was a moment later, I think he would have just pushed it. Unfortunately for him, he didn't have the opportunity, and now out comes the RAISY LG, gets a frag. This is a critical moment for nosfa. He needs to stop the momentum from building, and he's got the position to do so. If he doesn't give up Mega, doesn't allow RAISY to get footing now, he can kill that momentum. That's exactly what he'll do. Excellent play.
Really nice little peek there. The follow-up rail will hit. RAISY should be trapped, but now the shield comes out and the rockets are right on target. nosfa, decent attack, but that shield just made all the difference right there.
nosfa needs to be very proactive in using his orb. He cannot allow RAISY to just eat up the hourglasses. He wants to deny them. And that's part of the reason why he has been using the orb so much for positioning, I think, to make sure that he's always in a position where he can eat up and deny those hourglasses. Because if you just leave them around the map, Clutch is going to have that shield up pretty much non-stop, and that's the last thing you want.
Absolute nightmare to go against indeed. nosfa trailing by 2 frags. RAISY gets taken down here potentially, and wow, that rocket into LG was just so good that you could tell that RAISY just had nowhere to go.
Really solid push by nosfa. Orb into the rocket combo, tried and tested when you're Ranger. Oh, out comes the shield. Will it be enough? I don't think so. I think nosfa still got this. Yep. A little bit of a scuff dodge. as well as the pushback from the LG, sending RAISY into the cold waters of Awoken. Once again, tied up as we hit the 5-minute mark. This has been a very close game for RAISY.
With the dire orb onto the Mega, almost catastrophic, but RAISY wasn't actually there to deal any damage. Great rail there from nosfa as he wants to move in for position on this heavy. One rocket from RAISY, and he's going to have to take his leave, maybe set up for some damage on it. But good plays from nosfa, asserting dominance, grabbing everything he can off of the map, and it's looking better and better. RAISY does have shield available, though, and he's got the Unholy Trinity, so all the weapons he needs at his disposal. But nosfa still dictating the pace right now. Picks up the Mega as well, and that stack is looking good, but one rocket can change everything here if nosfa gets caught off guard.
nosfa had no idea where RAISY was in that situation. He was looking to the rail, to the heavy, shot some nails. RAISY can't get out of this alive, and he even ends up burning the shield as he drops down dead. That's excellent for nosfa. He should apply some pressure right now. He knows where RAISY is, but look at how fast the robot moves around the map. Solid plays from nosfa. Yeah, absolutely. Also very interesting, the damage heavily in nosfa's favor, around 800 points of damage over his opponent. He's also the one who's primarily controlling the major items, but RAISY has been so smart with that clutch ability, the shield, that even with fewer items and less damage, he is still keeping this very close and competitive. But those little mistakes for that drop down again into the LG, that's the second time that RAISY has sacrificed a frag like that. Yeah,
very uncharacteristic. And nosfa taking advantage when he can, as he should. Up to 3 minutes left, looking pretty good here, but he needs to keep the pressure on. RAISY can absolutely bring this back, especially with the mobility of the clutch. Good snag from nosfa there. Rocket jumps right back into position for the Mega with a fantastic rail to open it. RAISY with a return of his own, and the rocket actually well placed, and now the shield won't really do anything as RAISY gets taken down again. nosfa just right on target, Flea.
nosfa's crosshair placement has been sublime for that specific angle. I noticed that earlier as well. He knows how quickly RAISY can dodge across, so he doesn't even bother aiming at the left side. Now he's aiming where RAISY will be after the dodge, and whoa! 3 rails to the feet. You'll love to see it. And RAISY drops down dead just before the heavy spawn, so he can't even deny that. Now he should get the frag here. No!
What?
Somehow! nosfa, the super shoddy. Perfect.
Oh, and I thought he was going to get it again, and I was going to say, why won't you die? RAISY able to finally take him out, but he's so weak. nosfa already has LG and rockets, and RAISY's still incredibly weak. No shield. He's going to get taken out again here, and wow. nosfa, stop it.
Excellent plays by the Brazilian. He had no right to survive that encounter. That's exactly what he did, and now RAISY is forced to play this hyper aggressively. 5 frags, 90 seconds. Possible in theory. Are we going to see it? Very unlikely.
Unlikely indeed, but there is an opening here as RAISY's able to get that frag and grab the heavy with a nice little move towards the rail. And interestingly enough, nosfa during the LG battle didn't really use the dire orb to try and finish off and get that extra damage. He just tried and true, trusts in the LG, and twice now, RAISY's been able to best him. There's more LG, and he actually pops off the Mega trying to dodge, and oh, that is heartbreaking, Flea.
With this little time left, nosfa knows that he can get more value out of holding on to the orb and using it to get out of a sticky situation, buy himself another 10-15 seconds, even if he ends up dying. That's all he needs, and oh my god! Rail, and then the perfect orbs lined up, super patient, and that will spell disaster for RAISY. At this point, it's a mathematical impossibility. There is still time, but not enough for this. And that makes it so that nosfa will secure map 1. 40, your prediction's looking good.
I mean, I'm just saying it's a little bit of that brown magic, but what a play from nosfa this entire map. And again, I think it just feeds into this. People have figured out clutch. They know how to play against it. They're more confident. Nice Dire Orb to stay on the map, but he still might get this frag with a shotty. Maybe? Nope. RAISY has a shotty of his own and says no. But then he goes for a swim. Not happy with that performance, but nosfa should be absolutely just elated taking map number 1, beating RAISY's clutch. And he's up in the set early, and that's exactly where you want to be, Flea.
Indeed, excellent start from nosfa, beautiful play, solid control, massively outdamaging RAISY as well, over 2,000 points of damage over his opponent in the end. Excellent, you love to see it, lightning in a bottle indeed, that describes nosfa perfectly. Now map 2 has me a little worried for RAISY, because this is the one where I feel like he might be a little bit outclassed in terms of picks and bans already, and given that he's already lost map 1, nosfa might just seal the deal right here, right now.
And how incredible would that be? I mean, we kind of knew that it might happen, even though you went against me, which, first of all, how dare you? We kind of knew it would happen, because any given Saturday, these players are all fantastic, but taking down this clutch and getting that momentum in the set this early, and this frag right here, Shoddy Pippin coming up big, that was just heartbreaking. I think that may have broke RAISY's back, because he had him dead to rights, and then just the shotgun play around the corner to take out the robot. Just wow, 14-6 as we take a look at the stats. And does anything really pop out at you besides almost everything on nosfa's side on this one, please?
I mean, RAISY's accuracy, 34% LG, 29% rockets. I mean, Rail was super solid, but ultimately was not his primary weapon, so not quite sure how I feel about that accuracy. 34 LG, 29 rockets, I would have expected more. nosfa, on the other hand, hitting like an absolute truck, of course. Clutch is the size of a barn door, so it's not that difficult to land most of those shots, but still, absolutely solid performance. Now map 240, I'm curious to see if the predictions are now just going to be the complete opposite. As far as I can tell, people still facing or favoring RAISY somewhat, but to a lesser extent than what we saw after map 1. Clearly the confidence in nosfa is rising.
Stubborn, though. After that performance, you're still going to go with no. No, I mean, it's a new map. These players can reset after every map, and I'm sure RAISY knows, okay, that should have gone my way. There were some mistakes I made. Again, the dropping down both on heavy and off of the armor in the middle of the armor shard in the middle of the map. That led to some frags and some big damage, so I think RAISY cleans those up. This one should be a little bit closer. Again, Nyx versus Athena should be interesting, but you give the edge personally to nosfa based on the Athena and the mobility?
Yeah, I would. This is just such a vertical map that Nyx is going to struggle, right? She used to be a top pick on Blood Covenant, but that was before really Slash kind of overtook her in popularity, and before, of course, Athena was added to the game. And when we look at it, yeah, Nyx, she can use her wall jump to get around much of the map, but not nearly to the same extent as nosfa can with the Athena. She can't immediately get all the way on top from the very bottom. She doesn't have the same just raw acceleration. So I am going to favor nosfa, and I think that RAISY might struggle a bit.
We'll see who struggles on this one. Map number 2 live between nosfa and RAISY right now, and RAISY needs this one to tie the set right off the bat, missing a rail. A little bit of action before the heavy pickup for RAISY.
Good start for RAISY though. Spawning at rail is exactly what he wanted, because that is one of the things that Athena can deny so effectively. If she gets rail spawn, you're going to have a hell of a hard time to just get it out of her hands. But luckily for RAISY, he got the spawn that he probably was eyeing from the very start. And now we're seeing a very, very slow-paced matchup.
Easy does it indeed. And yeah, based off the spawn, I mean, RAISY got everything he wanted, but can he capitalize on it, Flea? We will see shortly here, as I think he spotted him. If not, he saw the rockets. RAISY posting up, trying to hit that angle now. Just missing with the rail as nosfa hooks over. And yeah, just missed opportunities. The first rail off the spawn, that one. It all adds up here as both players looking for each other. Good machine gun work from nosfa right off the bat. Good rail, but the rocket actually pops RAISY down. He's able to grab the armor shard, but he needs to get out. He's so weak. And now nosfa has free reign over the map, and RAISY, with good dodging, staying alive. Oh no, and he had to pop. Catastrophic movement error from RAISY, Flea.
Hitting the doorway like that just cripples you. And then also he's missed 2 pretty easy rails. But this should be a frag. nosfa can't get out in time. Even with the grapple hook, he knew that he was done for. So RAISY opens up this map. He knows that nosfa spawned on rail, so he can't try to deny it anymore, and that was his clear strategy at the start of the map. Oh, this is good, this is good. nosfa tries to hook in close with the super shot. He will fall a little short. Unfortunately for RAISY, the item timings are a bit too close to one another to actually start a rotation at this point, but he will be able to deny the rail again.
Oh, missing with these rails and the tri-bolt, able to fend him off and save his life. As RAISY was just going for that frag. You could tell, Flea, he had the frag in his eyes. He wanted it.
The shadows hide me.
Athena is, of course, a difficult target to hit. RAISY has only landed 2 rail shots so far, sitting at just 25% accuracy. This could already have been 4-0 if RAISY had just been a little bit more consistent with the railgun. But what is happening right now?
Ooh,
I
that is
don't
not an
know
easy
what I'm
shot to
seeing.
hit.
I don't know what I'm seeing for it. The drop? Or just jumping into the room like that? I can't imagine that being intentional on RAISY's behalf.
Yeah, again, very odd decision-making coming out from RAISY. Maybe a bit hyper-aggressive, maybe just believing in the aim, but either way, it's opened up the game for nosfa to tie it back at 2. He is very weak now, trying to make his way back to the Mega, and he will be right on time and uncontested.
Good start by the Maestro player, but then he stumbles, he fumbles the ball multiple times, and it allows nosfa to string together 2 quick frags. There we go, that's more of what he needs to put up, but nosfa retaliates. Good rail won't be enough. RAISY doesn't have a rocket. He can't rocket jump up, can't race to challenge the Mega, has to give that up for now. That is going to help nosfa out a lot.
I think RAISY heard that hook down below. Aggressive ghost walk play, trying to read exactly where nosfa is and just missing out. As nosfa trying to get back into this trailing 1, and that frag he gave up was almost a misplay from nosfa. As you saw, he dropped down from the bridge, tried to hook back up, couldn't quite get it.
Yeah.
Led to RAISY taking the lead. So both players making some mistakes, some movement errors, and it's costing them big, Flea.
It sure is. Now, the most important thing for nosfa is to find an avenue onto the railgun. That's the weapon he really wants to get a hold of. Messy fight, but it should be going in nosfa's favor. I like what he did right there. And a beautiful rail. God damn, that was smooth, just like nosfa himself.
Just so unbelievably confident. No fear out of nosfa, and RAISY holding onto that ghost walk, not popping it, and it cost him. At that point, I mean, you're probably going to die anyway. Maybe it's best to hold on to it, but great rail there as RAISY stabilizes by grabbing the heavy. Ooh, and another fantastic rail. I don't even know how he found that angle. But nosfa able to pick up the Mega, but needs to be careful if he drops down. There's the ghost walk. There's the hook down. A little bit of LG. And again, these rails from RAISY. There's the float with the LG, but RAISY's able to stabilize and grab a shaft and put the bead on him, taking back the lead. And now we're getting a little bit of a back and forth, Flea.
I mean, this is pretty comparable to how the previous map started off, right? We were 5 minutes in and it was 4-4 tied. So for the first half of map 1, things were very nice and balanced as well. But then nosfa just absolutely broke loose. Let's see whether he can accomplish that again. With rails like that, he surely will. Oh!
Oh my god.
I have no idea why he didn't just switch to super shoddy and finish that off. Probably didn't realize that RAISY was literally at, what, 10 points of health, but...
The rocket's just not landing in the rail, and look at all of that damage that RAISY got off the machine gun.
Now nosfa is playing dodge the RAISY. We have finally seen a bit of an offset between the items, 11 seconds between the two. And now RAISY also has a rocket jump, so he can't make it up there in time. Should be able to string both of them together, but he's more interested in frags. He wants violence today. He says, I'll pick up the item when I feel like it. Right now, I just want to inflict pain. That's exactly what he did.
He just wants nosfa to suffer like he did on map number 1. And so far, he's not suffering as it's tied to 5, but you can see the relentless pursuit from RAISY, and nosfa just not hitting the defensive shots he needs to keep him out. Huge, because RAISY will absolutely play aggressive without question, and here he is again using those stairs perfectly. The rocket's not quite landing, and finally the trade comes out at the last moment.
Good thing for nosfa that those final rockets did connect. His defensive rockets have been pretty good so far. He definitely needed that. Oh, now he's in trouble. Now he's in trouble. Does manage to secure the LG though.
Did he just turn that around?
Yeah, he did.
He almost did. Wow.
I think RAISY underestimated how much stack nosfa still had left. He thought he could just finish him off with 1, maybe 2 shotgun blasts from a distance, but no. nosfa had retreated into that blood pool, so he was gaining that passive health regeneration, and RAISY just completely overextended right there.
Goes up the jump pad, just misses out on that rail. That was a crucial rail to hit, and now he drops down. nosfa should know, but somehow RAISY hits that one. nosfa needs to be careful dodging. There's the drop down. Fearless. There's the wall jump. Is it going to be enough? And somehow stays alive. RAISY is crazy.
Sure is. Almost got that final rail off too. Now look at nosfa applying so much pressure, but RAISY should be able to secure Mega. Oh! That almost went wrong for RAISY. He messed up the ledge grab on top, so he got a lot of extra air and actually gave nosfa an angle. That would have been disastrous. Tied up the game for
What a rail
nosfa.
from below. Oh, but he missed another one. He needs to hit this one, and he can't. There's the ghost walk, and nosfa, please. Does steal the heavy.
Yeah, nosfa went for the gauntlet right there. He knew exactly what RAISY was going for. But just didn't have the stack to deal with it even after picking up the heavy, and now RAISY is just absolutely ramping up the aggression. Pace of the game is dominated, dictated entirely by him. And with a minute left to go, trying to catch a Nyx, I think it's a done deal. Even on a champion as fast and nimble as Athena, RAISY can just use the Ghost Walk.
What a rail off the spawn, too. And RAISY, there's nothing to catch. Catch these rails, Flea, as RAISY is just fearless. He's like, you know what? I have this in the bag. I'm going to keep taking these fights. Map number 1. Oh, my goodness. Map number 1 was a fluke. And RAISY, with this victory, able to tie it at 1. Sending us to the 3rd map as the decider right off the bat for today.
RAISY heard me comment on his railgun accuracy at the start of the map, and he's like, okay, I see how it is. Now he's just putting on a show. I think that's what, 5 consecutive rails at this point, make it 6. Absolutely ridiculous. Should find at least 1 more. Can't quite get it with the rail though, but it is a done deal. RAISY will tie it up 1-1. Now keep in mind, so far nosfa has won every single matchup between these two in the Quake Pro League, and RAISY no doubt is looking to change that up today.
RAISY's tired of it, and if I'm not mistaken, the scores are just inverted from map number 1, so hit that X-Files theme. Yeah, 14-6 in terms in favor of RAISY on map number 2, and now we go again to the 3rd map as the decider, which is always interesting, and more so because it's Deep Embrace, Strogg versus Anarchy, high fly-in champs, a lot of mobility, and it should be an absolute masterclass from both of these because they want the dub. nosfa smells it, he almost had it, and RAISY came back and said, no, I'm not going to let history repeat itself, not this time.
Bam, that rail. So sweet. nosfa didn't even move his mouse for that one. He just had it lined up. He knew exactly where RAISY was going to be, and he connected the shot, and that's all you could ever really hope for. But yes, indeed, the final map will decide it all. As you just said, 40, it will be Anarchy, played by RAISY, versus Strogg, ran by nosfa. 2 very quick, nimble, mobile champions. Of course, RAISY has got a bit of an edge when it comes to speed, especially with that inject and the air control. But on the other hand, Strock has got higher base stack to work with. Plus, the Peeker is a force to be reckoned with on this map. There's quite a few places where you can really just drop down and send the Peeker right back up to bait out a railgun shot or just harass your opponent when a fight isn't going your way. So RAISY will have to be on edge when it comes to that.
It's true. Struggling with the Peeker could be very costly as we take a look at the overview and the stats from map number 2. And the LG looking a little bit better. The rail on this one in favor of RAISY as well. And you got to start to wonder, was it maybe because, you know, map 1, nosfa was going against a fridge? As we said, it's kind of layups to hit some of these rails, and LG a little bit harder on these smaller champs. But RAISY, no problem with the rail. LG able to prevail. 14-6 will be the final score on map number 2, sending us to the 3rd. And looking forward to if it's going to be a game of more strategy positioning or if it's going to be just pure mechanics. As we saw near the end there, RAISY almost looked like he was taking out some frustrations on a nosfa flea.
Yeah, that final minute or two was really pure mechanics. RAISY just running out with nothing but the railgun in his hand, saying, I'm just gonna hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shots in a row, and that will be all she wrote. I don't need anything more than that. And indeed, for the perfectly reversed scoreline, spooky, I think, let us get another 6-14 in for the final map. It's possible, pretty small map, Deep Embrace. We've seen some excessive scorelines pop up on this map. I'm not expecting that today. But I do think that this is once again going to be dominated primarily by mechanics. I think that once one of these players gets a split between the items, starts running them and building up a bit of momentum, it's going to be extremely important that the other can counterpunch, can do sufficient damage, because otherwise it is so easy to drown on the map that is Deep Embrace, because it's difficult to get a hold of resources and even weapons for free.
Do you think that there is a better spawn for one champ versus the other? For instance, if you're Strog, do you prefer one side of the map over the other? If you're Anarchy, do you prefer one side of the map over the other?
I mean, I imagine that if you're Anarchy, you want to get the heavy spawn, right? Because you don't have armor to begin with, plus you can get the Railgun. And Railgun, of course, against Anarchy, right? He's a small, squishy champion. It's 90 damage no matter what, but that 90 does a lot more when you have less stack to begin with. So I imagine that RAISY will probably prefer spawning on the heavy side, especially because he's got the injection as well, right? He can kind of give himself some health overstack to begin with. So if I was RAISY, I would be hoping to spawn heavy. And of course, nosfa, I think, will want to do the same thing to deny that.
Well, we'll see. RAISY got the favorable spawn for Nyx on Blood Covenant and came up big. We'll see if he can do it one more time. The winner of this one will take the set. We're live on map number 3 between nosfa and RAISY.
Looks like RAISY gets the LG and the Mega side. Not what he was hoping for, to be sure. Big delay between both of the items. I don't know if RAISY is aware of just how long nosfa left up heavy, because now they're basically synced. And that could be a bit of an issue for RAISY. If he shows up, say, 5-10 seconds early, waiting for that item to spawn, not knowing it's delayed, he could be in trouble.
A little bit of peeker damage coming out as the rails. Pretty good so far, hitting 50 for nosfa. Drops down, almost gets another angle on it as well. Nice rocket jump there to get position on the heavy immediately, as both players will trade the items, and now they're a little more synced up here. Only 2 seconds in between, and trying to protect that armor. RAISY makes his way onto it, hits a great fadeaway rail as well.
Nice little speed boost there as well. That LG from nosfa gave him a lot of momentum flying through the teleporter. I think he could have made it all the way up to heavy if he just kept going.
Nice. What a flick.
Nice.
The LG from RAISY's too much, as nosfa can't put the beat on him. So RAISY, first blood. This is going to be a sign of things to come. The shotgun almost gets it, but the rail actually pushes him out of range for the full blast. That defensive rail was huge.
I mean, if there's anything in the game that hurts an Anarchy, it's the shotgun, right? It's Anarchy's Achilles heel almost. Does so much damage, and he doesn't have a lot of stack to begin with.
Oh, buddy.
Woo!
He went and done did it again.
Oh yeah, that was baked almost. RAISY knew exactly what nosfa was going for right there, and he just denied it. And so confident as well. Because if you're RAISY, you drop down and you miss that rail, you're pretty much done for with the stack and the weapons you have. Not a lot of backup there. Oh, I like what nosfa was going for with the peeker, but he shouldn't have done it when RAISY was just so on top of him. And I don't think he realized just how much of a pitbull RAISY was in that fight. He had just bitten down and would not take a step away from his opponent.
And with a 3-0 lead, this is the start that RAISY wants. That rail, not so much, stopping him dead in his tracks, but he should be able to claim the heavy unscathed, as nosfa just wants weaponry instead and trying to position for this next mega.
Mega will be the next major item to be contested. Ooh. Oh, that's a good rocket.
What?
Woo! nosfa can't quite pick it up. It was just too tempting for him to go for. But RAISY was ready. And relentless too. Nice rails from nosfa, but not nice enough. RAISY. The man's warmed up. He's unstoppable. Just look at these shots, 40.
The rails are just gross, and they're the deciding factor in this. Every kill has been a final rail from RAISY, except for that a little bit of shotgun blast. Because why not, as nosfa's down 6 early in this one. Oh, rocket jump, a little bit crazy here as there's the inject, and he's able to get out of there, and that is the speed of anarchy. I'm in danger. I'm going to take a little bit of drugs, not condoning it, and then he gets out of there with the speed, and now he's in position. He's hitting rails now as well. There's the peeker, but RAISY just takes a little shoulder peek with the LG and says, no, 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 not today. And this is crazy right now. 7-0 as nosfa's getting shut out, and he just tries to dance a little bit of a samba. Can't do it. Gets planted again with a rail.
I mean, the dance was definitely the right decision. You don't just want to step right on the... Oh, out comes the gauntlet. Out it comes. We saw nosfa try to make a play with it twice on the previous map. Unsuccessfully so. Now RAISY does get a pummel in, but not enough to seal the deal. Whew. Nice! Good rocket from nosfa. There's still plenty of time left. 6 minutes, 8 frags. We've seen a whole lot crazier in the Quake Pro League.
Oh, definitely, but nosfa needs to be careful. He can't just take these fights. Good peeker damage, almost gets the rail follow-up for the frag. Can he find the angle on the LG? No, just missing out. He needs to get back to the heavy. He needs to get some semblance of item control across the map to try and bring this one back.
I see.
nosfa has done a lot of damage with the peeker so far, but it's also... It also ended up killing him several times.
RAISY hit him with the pose afterwards.
Yeah.
He posterized him. He posterized him, Flea.
I mean, nosfa just took one step too close to the edge. Didn't even go over it, but then the float, the LG pushback, it just kind of took him up into the air, sending him for a magic carpet ride that he definitely wasn't ready for. And there we get it. There we get it. The pummel frag, RAISY's signature move. And now with 11 frags of a lead, 40, do you see any way in which nosfa still makes a comeback happen?
Honestly, the only way is if RAISY keeps playing aggressive as he's been and nosfa just hits all of his shots. Because RAISY looks like he's not going to take his foot off the gas, and that's going to lead to nosfa having opportunities, but he has to capitalize by putting out a lot more damage. So maybe, but even then I feel like once RAISY gives up a couple more frags and is in danger of actually losing the lead, then he'll play back and be like, okay, I don't want to get too crazy, I want to win this one, but for now it seems like he's okay with just running around the map, enjoying himself, and putting nosfa in a position to have to chase and deal with him.
He almost jumped into that rocket. Yeah, I was still on RAISY's point of view, and he could have jumped through at any other time, but he waited until the rocket barely connected. But yeah, you're very right in saying that RAISY's aggression, it is a bit concerning. There were times, just like earlier, right? RAISY uses the injection just before peeking for a rail. He notices that he doesn't have 90 points of health yet, so he is railable, and he still takes the angle, still shows his face. You can do that when you've got a 7 frag lead, sure, but if nosfa can keep this up, he still has a chance. But like you said, right, this is RAISY we're talking about. A player who can absolutely play extremely defensive and passively as well. So when it comes down to it, RAISY's just gonna slam his foot on the brakes. And I really don't see a way for nosfa to mount a comeback at this stage.
Yeah, with 3 minutes, I think it's just too much to overcome. Great rail, though. RAISY will claim the heavy nonetheless. Fantastic rail.
Yeah.
nosfa has no choice but to flee out of here.
Ah.
So I didn't even think about that. How long can he last? And RAISY a merciful god as he just wants to maybe go to Mega? No, he's still hunting. He gave up the Mega. Is this an opportunity for nosfa? And it is.
No, I've got to find a moment to just throw 40 lions somehow in a sentence to
It
make
looks
up
like
for it.
nosfa's getting torn apart by 40 lions. Peeker comes out. And
That would do it, yeah. That would do it.
nowhere to be seen, though, so no damage off that. And he's still railable as nosfa's playing with fire here. RAISY has been on. He just needs one opening, but the LG is going to be enough as he comes flying through the telly.
I honestly don't know about the Peeker pick, or well, the Strog pick rather. It's still a very solid champion for this map, but I feel like nosfa was perhaps a bit too eager to use the little robots, right? Yes, he managed to do a lot of damage in multiple situations, but I think if we would go back and we would tally all of the situations where using the Peeker either cost him a frag or just made him give up control completely or put him on the defensive, like, I think that the Peeker ultimately ended up favoring RAISY tremendously.
Oh, RAISY, stop it. You're a bully! Oh! I think you're right. Sorry, I was absolutely horrified at the horror show that we're seeing right now as RAISY's just murdering someone online. No! Please!
Not again!
No, it just keeps happening. Flee.
Well, RAISY's definitely grooving right now. He knows that this is over. This is his victory lap. He knows it's a very deserved victory as well. Map 1, nosfa had his number, even with the clutch. But then map 2, final minutes, definitely favored RAISY, and map 3, nosfa just never really managed to get into his own playstyle. He was always on the back foot. Whenever the ability came out, it feels like it ended up helping RAISY in the end, and he ended up chasing frags from very early on.
Yeah, and the scoreline shows it here is RAISY just running away with it. Again, the Peeker plays a little suspect, leaving nosfa open to damage, gauntlets, rockets, rails, everything. RAISY through the kitchen sink at nosfa. He's able to pull this one out and go 2-1.
Oh.
And it's got to be upsetting from nosfa there. As you know, frustration, you can kind of tell. Very, very close, starting off the set, so hot, taking down the clutch, having all the momentum, and then map number 2, just having that torn away from you, and then going into 3. And within the first couple minutes, kind of just seeing all these rails that RAISY's hitting and just finishing his kills, and it's so hard to overcome a RAISY that is playing confident, borderline angry, and still hitting all these shots and chaining together rails. It's very, very difficult to do.
Absolutely. Now, congratulations, Maestro. Congratulations, RAISY. As we mentioned earlier, this is the first time that RAISY won out of any Quake Pro League matchup that he has had against nosfa. So far, the Brazilian has always had his number, always managed to come out on top, but today, RAISY plants his feet firmly in the ground and ends that trend. So well played to both of these gentlemen, but it will be the Hungarian taking home the dub. Now, 40, we've got many more excellent games coming up today. What are your final thoughts on the first one?
Yeah, a whole lot on the menu left, but this one, again, big shouts to RAISY. I mean, it feels good to get that monkey off your back and just kind of be like, okay, history didn't repeat itself. I broke the cycle. I'm not stained any longer. But you could tell by his play and kind of his demeanor, he didn't want to win that way. He always wants to go 3-0. RAISY's a perfectionist. He didn't really play the first map up to his liking, up to what we've seen before with the dominance of Clutch. But nevertheless, shouts to him taking the set. Well done. 20-6 to end it and put the exclamation on it. I still think nosfa played great. It was just map number 2 was kind of the, I don't know, I think it stopped any momentum he had. And then 3-4 minutes into Deep Embrace, you can kind of tell, like, RAISY's hitting all these rails. There's no escape for nosfa. So that's the breakdown of the set as we take a look at the scores. Fantastic way to start the day, Flea, but yeah, no, just big shouts to RAISY. I mean, it feels really, really good being able to overcome kind of your end boss and say, okay, I finally beat you in an official game. I don't have to worry about this anymore. It's not hanging over my head.
This will indeed be good for RAISY. I mean, yes, he is ranked 3rd after this matchup, right? Before he was 4th, but still, like you mentioned before we started, his performance has been pretty inconsistent, right? He's lost to Dramas, Gilson, and Avak, which are all, of course, top-tier contenders. So it will be good for him to now add some more wins to that and finally, you know, start skewing more towards not just winning as much as he's losing, but finally getting, you know, a big lead when it comes to the wins as well. So congratulations again to RAISY. Very solid matchup and a great win to top it off.
Fantastic, and we got another fantastic one coming up shortly. It's going to be Avik versus Dramas. Dramas on a tear, taking down some Titans recently. We'll see if he could take down Avik after this break.